Hello and welcome to my video today. I'm going to be getting the OS 2.6 OTA update installed on my Fisker Ocean today. And I'm going to be showing you that process as well as an overview of the changes. So let's get started. As with most OTA updates, it's always a good idea to have the car at a fairly good state of charge. I'm actually charging mine right now, and while I'm doing that, it's also charging the 12-volt battery, and it's important to have at least 80 to 85% or more state of charge on the 12-volt battery so that when the update occurs, it has enough to cover that process. I also recommend having a good 4G or Wi-Fi connection to the car so that it can get downloaded quicker. When the update comes, it'll download and you'll get a little box on the screen that will let you continue the installation. At that point, exit the car and lock it and let it do the update. I am not sure how long this will take. Definitely do not open the car up until the update is over. So I am going to let the car charge up, and I'm expecting the update sometime in the next half hour or so. All right, it's time to open up the car. All right, so the update was downloaded, and I now have this dialog box here that says a new software update is available for your Fisker Ocean. You can go to details or dismiss. Okay, so let me press the details. Oh, by the way, my 12-volt battery is fairly charged up here. It's at 99%, 13.1 volts. So I am going to press details. And here we go. We have OS 2.6.0.4 update available. I'm going to press install now. And here is the warning. Estimated installation time, 30 minutes. Software installation starts in under 5 minutes. Driver and all passengers must exit and lock the vehicle for installation to begin. During this update, your vehicle and climate controls will be unavailable. Do not leave pets or young children in the vehicle during this process. Shifting the vehicle into gear will cancel the installation. So I am going to get out of the car now and let it do its update. And locking it. And I'll be back in about 30 minutes. All right, so I left it alone for at least 45 minutes. Let's go inside. And I'm gonna start the car up. And here we go. We have installation complete. Your Ocean software has been updated to the latest version. Let's click on what's new. And they still don't have the updated screen for this. So I'm just going to close that. So on the software screen, we see we have OS 2.6.0.4, and here is the ICC version. When looking at the menus, starting from the top and going down, they are all the same, except when we get to music, there's an additional Autokit button right here. However, I haven't seen exactly what it does because when you press it, it gives this message, Autokit isn't working right now. So once I find out some more about that, I'll let you know. As we go down through the other ones, they're the same. We have a new icon here for Hollywood mode. And then this one is Autokit. and we have the fan and the settings. So in order to get the Hollywood mode to work, you need to go into settings, go to connectivity, and there's a new setup here for the Wi-Fi Connect. You have an off option, a media Wi-Fi, which is what is used by the Hollywood mode, and an OTA Wi-Fi. So for example, I have the media Wi-Fi connected to my phone, and the OTA Wi-Fi I could have connected to my house Wi-Fi if I wish. So you have to make sure that this is on and active. Otherwise, this will not show up. So if I show you a test here, if I have Wi-Fi off, notice that button is now gone. So it's only there if you have this active. So let's go and press this, by the way. And we have a new screen that comes up. We have two apps, but they're not really apps. They're really just web links here because this is really using the browser. And we have YouTube and Prime Video. Let's try YouTube. I had my account set up previously, and I had to redo it for this. Give it a second. And yeah, so I'll need to sign in. I'm going to use my login. All right, so it doesn't seem to be letting me sign in. I'm not sure why. Let's exit out of this and start Prime Video. And I do have an account set up with Prime. And if I want to watch videos, there's a Prime button here. And I can go through and watch Prime movies and TV shows, etc. here. So if I just test one out here, I'm just going to press. All right, so I am going to watch the trailer. All right, so that is an example of Prime. I'm going to switch it over to Hollywood mode now. And if we go back into the Hollywood mode app, it's going to start all over again. So it doesn't seem to be consistent between the portrait mode and landscape mode. So I was curious on that. So let's try this again. And yeah, it looks like it just restarts the web link. I am going to try it again. Let's let it run for a second. What I think it's doing is it's caching the episode. All right, so that is super slow. So it's ready to watch, but I am going to click on trailer. And I'm going to try to make this full screen. All right, I'm going to hit pause on that. So there are some options up here. Video quality, you can have good, better, or best. I have it on the highest setting here. So it ranges from 0.38 gigabytes to 0.86 gigabytes to 1.17 gigabytes per hour. So just gives you an idea of how much data it would be using. And we have some ability for the sound and I guess closed captioning. And we can also shrink it back down if we want, like that. And if you want to close the app, you just press the X like that. So there we go with the Hollywood mode. Unfortunately, it is just 2, and as far as this goes, the YouTube doesn't let me log in, but I can still use YouTube on here. So let me wait till that starts up and I'll show you. Oh, by the way, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. All right, so if we want, I'm going to click on my last video here. Hello and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be going over the options for Fisker Ocean owners in 2026. I'll show you the recently received FOA email, and I'll go over the OV loop and other options. Then I'll give you my take and editorial. All right, so let's get started. Let's pause it real quick. And I think it defaults to 720p. I think we'll go up to 1080p. I'm going to close this comment section here. Should be full screen. And we will start. The recent FOA board vote went on to approve the tiered approach. All right, so we have YouTube. We can play. I would suggest 1080p. On previous tests, I tried to do higher 4K, and those were kind of stuttery. But HD 1080p seems to work fine. So if you want to quit, just tap the screen. We'll shrink it down. And then I can press the X in the corner there, and that will exit it. All right, so press X to exit, and there we have those 2 links there. So that's all there is for Hollywood mode. I wish they would add some additional apps such as Netflix or Disney. So I guess we'll see if there's any more coming. So if we press the home button again, we'll switch back to the portrait display. Next, we have Autokit. And if we press Autokit here, this is the setup screen. Now we're going to configure the Autokit on this screen here. Make sure that the CarLink Kit dongle is attached to the service USB as well as a USB port somewhere in the console to keep it powered. At the other end of the dongle, you're going to attach a USB cable, one that's compatible with your phone. For example, I have a USB-C cable here. The settings icon is this gear in the top left corner. We're going to press that. And in this menu are a lot of settings. Make sure the display size is set to large. The connection mode is set to manual. You can change this later when you have everything fully set up, if you want automatic connection to the phone. But for this first time, have it in manual. Keep all the other settings to their default. In the main menu, go into the settings for connectivity. Make sure that Bluetooth is set to off. You can have the Wi-Fi hotspot set to on and connect your phone to that so that you can get data from the phone to display on the screen. Go back into the Autokit menu and let's press return. Now this, instead of saying please connect the device, since the CarLink kit is connected, it now says please connect the phone. So at this point, I can take the phone and attach the USB to it. If it doesn't go into CarPlay mode right away, you may need to go into settings and then return. Then it shows connecting. And now we're in CarPlay. There are modes on the bottom left here that you can press. This is like a summary page that has your navigation up top, music down below, and other items on here. You have some icons down here for some apps that you've been using. You have your time, and you also have your information on your data connection, Wi-Fi. Then we can press this button here and it'll go to the grid mode of all the apps. You can go on your phone in the CarPlay settings and arrange the apps the way that you'd like to see them on the screen. Remember, only some apps work with CarPlay. So here is a list of the ones that I have. And commonly, I use the mapping and the music. So I put all those on the first page. There are also some settings. If you go into that gear icon here, you can adjust driving focus, which will eliminate distractions if you have that on. Announce messages, you can have that on. Announce options. Appearance, we have automatic and always dark. We have customize icons. We can change them from default to dark to clear. And then there's clear light and clear dark. So a bunch of different options for the icons. Just going to leave it in the default. We can go to wallpaper. You have choices of wallpaper to use for the background. We have display. Show album art now playing. I have that on. Accessibility, you have some ability to change some features for that. Apple Intelligence in Siri. Live activities and silent mode. So that's pretty much the settings that you can adjust for CarPlay. So this is the wired connection for the phone. If we want it to do wireless, we need to pair the phone with the car, and then I'll show you those steps next. So if I disconnect the phone here, on your phone, make sure Wi-Fi is turned on. Press the Wi-Fi button up there. Press your phone. And now it connects to the phone. So the initial attachment of the Wi-Fi to that sometimes takes a minute or two, but in the future, it happens really fast. So if you want, I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to disconnect, and then I'm just going to turn Wi-Fi on. And you'll see eventually it just auto selects the Wi-Fi right here. Then you just need to press Wi-Fi on the screen, your phone, and it connects. If you change the setting in the Autokit for auto instead of manual, it will do this automatically when you get in the car, and you don't even need to do that process. They do manual because it gives you the option to use wired or wireless. When you have it set for automatic, it automatically does the wireless from what I've seen. So there we go. So that's an example of connecting wired and wireless Apple CarPlay. Now we're going to start the driving portion of my review here. I am going to turn the car on. First thing it's going to do is it's going to power on the CarLink kit device. Now it's going to connect to the phone. And if it doesn't automatically connect to the phone, you can just press the gear button up here and then return. Then it should start connecting. The last thing I was using was Apple Maps, and here is the menu for it. So let me just press on the screen here, give you some info on this. You could also use Google Maps or Waze, but I'm going to start the test off with Apple Maps. You can control the mapping on the screen, the size of it, by pressing the plus or minus. And when you have the zoom level that you'd like, you can leave it and it will save that. You can also set it for 2D or 3D on the display. On the top here, we have the directions as far as the mapping goes. You can have it go north or following your route. Let me show you the voice control. You could just use Siri, drive me to work. Then you got your 3 different route options. If you don't pick one of those, it'll...
Starting route to 8480 Autokit Road. Head southeast on Glen Eden Drive.
So if you don't pick one of those 3 routes, it'll pick one for you. Pretty normal with the Apple Maps. On the bottom here, we have some information on the arrival time, how long it's going to take, and how many miles. If you want to add a stop, you press plus. If you want to share ATA, you can do that. You can report things in the road or other hazards, and you can end route. So I'm going to end the route real quick, and I am going to press the button on the steering wheel for voice control. It basically does the same thing as using the Siri or Google commands. Drive to work. And now you have the same options you had as before.
Starting route to 8480 Honeycutt Road. Head southeast on Glen Eden Drive.
And one thing I found out is that if you are done with your command, you can press that voice assistant button again to immediately stop the recording, so that sometimes it takes a little bit longer if you just let it go. So just a little thing I've noticed to make it more efficient. So let's get on with the drive. I'm going to do half the drive on Apple Maps, and I'm going to do the second part of the drive on Google Maps, and I'll show you the difference between them. Notice that the reverse camera is on when you need it.
And the next traffic lights, turn left. At the traffic lights, turn left onto Ridge Road.
You can also adjust the voice by pressing the speaker button. You can have it unmuted, alerts only, or muted. I'm going to leave it on for right now so you can hear it. And here's an example of the routing direction versus the due north direction. So I usually like leaving it on the route direction. So on this drive, I'll show you example of just regular city driving, local driving, and also I'm going to get on the highway and show you that too.
Keep left.
Here's where you can get a good example of the 3D mapping here with the buildings on the left. And as I mentioned, you can zoom in and out. So if you want a little bit further out view, you can do that. Okay, I'm at close to a stopping point where I am going to change the maps over to Google Maps. So let me just pull into a parking lot and do that. Okay, so I'm just going to exit out of this. I can go into the menu and now I can choose Google Maps. And Google Maps happens to be in satellite imagery mode here. So I'm also going to do the testing with the directions. So let me do, hey Siri, navigate to work. All right, so now we have the choices here. My wife left me a message. I'm not going to answer that right now. So we can pick the route we want to go on, and then we can press start. To exit, we're going to press up here, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to cancel out of everything and do it through the voice assistant button right here. So let me press that. Drive to work. And basically the same thing as before when I asked Siri for help. So I can also click on more routes. So I can pick this, this. So I am going to do this one. And then I am going to, oh, let's look at overview. I don't think I've done that before. Yeah. And then I am going to press start. Some more information you have on the bottom, you have arrival time, minutes, and miles. You have your direction up top, and you have which turns you need to take right here. The buttons over here, you have your hazard, you have your map movement here. So if you want to adjust the map, you can press this and you can go up, down, left, right, zoom in, zoom out, and then you can press done. And then we also have sound on, sound off. And we also have routing here, so you can choose different routes if you need to. So I'm going to stick with that. Let's see, we can also add a stop up here. We can also do a microphone. So that's a button there. Let's go and look at the settings. We can go through route options here. You can avoid tolls, avoid ferries, avoid highways, prefer HOV, prefer saving energy. You could also do alert options. You got map. Let's go back in again. Map colors. You know, automatic day or night. And let's go back in again. You can do satellite map, or you could do just regular map mode here. Let's go in again. And I know that there is, you can turn traffic on and off. And yeah, so there we go. So I like using the satellite map view. Yep, so that's about it. So let me continue with the driving using the Google Maps now. While I'm waiting, I could always turn on my music. I have Sirius XM here. So obviously I can't play music on my YouTube channel. I get the copyright violations, so I am going to skip that right now, but just imagine I was playing music in the background. So I can go back to Google Maps. We have crash, slow down, police, construction, lane closure, object on road, low visibility, flooded road, unplowed road. So you can add a report if you wish. So on the screen here, you can see the traffic being highlighted here. So that is good to know. One thing I've noticed between using Google Maps and Apple Maps is that the Apple Maps tends to zoom in and out depending on your speed and the direction that you're going. So just something that I've seen. You have arrived. All right, so there we go. We had the Apple Maps and Google Maps giving me routing to work, and a good example of what you're going to be mostly using this for is navigation. Oh, by the way, I have the option of using wired or wireless. I have noticed in my experience that the wired offers better connection as well as charging your phone. So I tend to just use the wired version of this. It also seems to work better when making phone calls. Here's another thing I want to show you is CarPlay wireless. We just need to press the Autokit button right here. And then for wireless, we just need to press the Wi-Fi symbol right here and the phone that you're going to be using. And then it starts right up.
Head north toward Waketown Drive, then turn left onto Waketown Drive.
All right, so, and if...
Head northwest.
One thing I noticed is that the voice through the speakers from the phone is not as clear as in the wired connection. All right, so that should give you an idea of the wireless use of Apple CarPlay with the system. It's very similar to the wired version. In fact, I prefer the wired version. It tends to be smoother, and also I get to charge my phone. It gets both benefits by doing that. Otherwise, if you really do want to have wireless, you can use it wireless or wired. Another thing I wanted to show you is with the wireless connection, I can go into the settings and make it so that the phone is connected to this automatically when you get in the car. So let me just turn off Wi-Fi on the phone right this second. And this will go back to the main Autokit menu. I'm going to go and press the gear icon to go into settings. And then under connection mode, change it from manual to automatic. So what that'll do is that will allow it to automatically connect. So right now, it's going to connect right there, connecting to the phone. I don't need to do anything. Makes it a lot easier if that's how you want to use the phone. If you want it to do Wi-Fi automatically, that works great. However, I found that if I like to use the wired mode, if I have Wi-Fi on when I get in the car, it's going to automatically connect to the Wi-Fi first. So if you don't want to have that happen, you either have to have Wi-Fi off or change the settings so that it's not automatic, it's manual. So for example, I'm going to turn this off right now, go back into settings and change connection mode to manual. So it won't automatically start. Since I like to use the wired version, I can now just connect it to the car like that. So once the phone is connected, you can either press the button here to start it or go into the menu and come out, and it should connect to the phone like that. So I'm now in wired mode. And then I just disconnect and it goes back to the main menu. And now for the conclusion. If you're looking for a CarPlay and Android Auto features for the navigation and music, the 2.6 update works well either in wired or wireless modes. But for calls, I have had good experience and not so good experience. The wired was fine, but the wireless was kind of iffy. Some other testers have had issues with both wired and wireless. So this is being looked at for a follow-up update within a couple weeks. Hollywood mode is very slow, as you saw in the video, to the point of being unusable in the current state. We are told a new browser will be coming that helps with the login issues for YouTube. We are looking at a phone mirror mode that can be used with either the iPhone or Android in a follow-up update. This will allow you to use your phone apps for display on the screen in landscape or Hollywood mode while parked, so you could play videos through apps on your phone. This would avoid the slowdown that we've seen with the Hollywood mode apps that are built on the browser of the Fisker Ocean. Next, PK22 was supposed to be with OS 2.6, but it has been delayed due to fixing a number of bugs that were found. Chevalier is now working on that. I'll let you know in a future video of any status updates, but I do expect it to be added to the 2.6 update at some point. The OS 2.5 bugs that some people have encountered are not addressed in this update. The most important being the Bluetooth, which in OS 2.2 seemed to work pretty well, but it appears that it's not in the code base for 2.5 or 2.6. So we are hoping that will be coming also in the update. I myself have not had any issues with Bluetooth disconnections, but some owners with 2.5 are experiencing it. Next, the lock chime themes revert to default after the car deep sleeps, and the HVAC save settings can sometimes change. Something that hasn't happened to me is the regen settings for fun and hyper that don't always match what they're set to. All of these items are being worked on for a future update since they are deeper in the system and may require the assistance of Harman to resolve. The fixes for these items will be called 2.5.2 and will be at no additional cost for owners that purchase 2.5. 2.6 will also get a follow-up maintenance release. Features from 2.5 that are working for me include the energy mode setting for 2 hours, the auto setting for light and dark display themes, estimated range reset, 12-volt battery monitor on the charging screen, and torque vectoring. All of these work great for me. Look for OS 2.6 to be publicly released in the next week. I'm also going to be covering some add-ons that you can attach to the system, for example, an AI box in future videos. This will add more capability to the system and allow you to do some fun things. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.